Recorded Books presents an unabridged recording of Aftershock, The Next Economy and America's Future by Robert B. Reich, narrated by the author and directed by Jesse Boggs. This book opens with the following excerpt from The Cycles of American History by Arthur M. Schlesinger, Jr. Epochs of private interest breed contradictions characterized by undercurrents of dissatisfaction, criticism, ferment, protest. Segments of the population fall behind in the acquisitive race. Problems neglected become acute, threaten to become unmanageable, and demand remedy. A detonating issue, some problem growing in magnitude and menace beyond the market's invisible hand to solve, at last leads to a breakthrough into a new political epoch. And now, Aftershock.
Part 1. The Broken Bargain. Section 1. Eccles' Insight. The Federal Reserve Board, arguably the most powerful group of economic decision-makers in the world, is housed in the Eccles Building on Constitution Avenue in Washington, D.C. A long, white, mausoleum-like structure, the building is named after Mariner Eccles, who chaired the board from November 1934 until April 1948. These were crucial years in the history of the American economy and the world's. While Eccles is largely forgotten today, he offered critical insight into the great pendulum of American capitalism. His analysis of the underlying economic stresses of the Great Depression is extraordinarily, even eerily, relevant to the crash of 2008. It also offers, if not a blueprint for the future, at least a suggestion of what to expect in the coming years. A small, slender man with dark eyes and a pale, sharp face, Eccles was born in Logan, Utah, in 1890. His father, David Eccles, a poor Mormon immigrant from Glasgow, Scotland, had come to Utah, married 2 women, became a businessman, and made a fortune. Young Mariner, one of David's 21 children, trudged off to Scotland at the start of 1910 as a Mormon missionary, but returned home 2 years later to become a bank president. By age 24, he was a millionaire. By 40, he was a tycoon, director of railroad, hotel, and insurance companies, head of a bank holding company controlling 26 banks, and president of lumber, milk, sugar, and construction companies spanning the Rockies to the Sierra Nevadas. In the crash of 1929, his businesses were sufficiently diverse and his banks adequately capitalized that he stayed afloat financially. But he was deeply shaken when his assumption that the economy would quickly return to normal was, as we know, proved incorrect. Men I respected assured me that the economic crisis was only temporary, he wrote, and that soon all the things that had pulled the country out of previous depressions would operate to that same end once again. But weeks turned to months, the months turned to a year or more. Instead of easing, the economic crisis worsened. He himself had come to realize by late 1930 that something was profoundly wrong, not just with the economy, but also with his understanding of it. I awoke to find myself at the bottom of a pit without any known means of scaling its sheer sides. I saw for the first time that although I'd been active in the world of finance and production for 17 years and knew its techniques, I knew less than nothing about its economic and social effects. Everyone who relied on him, family, friends, business associates, the communities that depended on the businesses he ran, expected him to find a way out of the pit. Yet all I could find within myself was despair, he wrote. When Eccles' anxious bank depositors began demanding their money, he called in loans and reduced credit in order to shore up the bank's reserves. But the reduced lending caused further economic harm. Small businesses couldn't get the loans they needed to stay alive. In spite of his actions, Eccles had nagging concerns that by tightening credit instead of easing it, he and other bankers were saving their banks at the expense of the entire community. In seeking individual salvation, we were contributing to collective ruin, he wrote. Economists and the leaders of business in Wall Street, including financier Bernard
Sample complete. Ready to continue?